Freedom in the United States took a hit during the Trump administration. This was also evident when Capitol rioters vandalized media equipment. This report by Voice of America tells you more.
U.S. journalists are working in an increasingly hostile environment, facing physical attacks and verbal assault from protesters and law enforcement, not to mention relentless verbal attacks by outgoing U.S. President Donald Trump. The pro-Trump mob that assaulted the U.S. Capitol smashed equipment of an Associated Press crew. They charged and yelled epithets at journalists, assaulted crews and scrawled "Murder the Media" on the building's doors. Over the past 4 years, pipe bombs were sent to CNN. A gunman killed 5 people in the Capital Gazette newsroom in Annapolis, and the government spied on journalists covering the migrant caravans at the southwest border.
It wasn't simply a matter of the president and his aides not liking coverage, which is normal, but they attacked true things in ways that were dangerous and posed physical threats to journalists.
I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people. To anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty.
When you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people.
Trump and his supporters accused the media of treating him harshly and unfairly.
Coverage of any president, really any leader, is by definition not going to, most of the time, be complimentary. That's not usually what makes news. So the scrutiny that Donald Trump got is true. Of course, there was a lot of scrutiny, but that is the job of the press.
Critics say U.S. support for press freedom has diminished on the international stage, where America has historically been a leader. One example is its widely criticised response to the killing of Washington Post correspondent Jamil Khashoggi in Saudi Arabia's Istanbul consulate. Suzanne Nossel of the human rights and free speech group PEN America spoke with VOA by phone.
In the case of Jamal Khashoggi, they made quite clear that they were not going to let this butchering of a journalist interfere with their relationship with the Saudi government.
She says organisations like hers lose leverage to free jailed journalists without support from the US government and its bilateral relations around the world. The State Department has applauded the courage and determination of independent media, and in statements condemned politically motivated persecutions, impunity and attacks, and the threats levelled at female journalists. The White House also had some success, including ongoing efforts to free Austin Tice, an American freelancer missing in Syria since 2012. Incoming President Joe Biden says he will defend the rights of activists and journalists and work to restore relations with the media. But analysts say his press freedom record is less than ideal. The Obama-Biden administration saw tighter access to information, prosecution of sources, and seized journalists' phone records.
Those were very, very dangerous things, and things that we weren't used to seeing in the U.S. either. And those happened during the Obama-Biden administration. So definitely those of us who advocate for press freedom and access to information are watching warily for what will happen during the Biden-Harris administration.
Advocates are pressing for toned-down rhetoric, more protections for media covering protests and unrest, and for the US to stand up for press freedom. Again, Suzanne Nossel, CEO of PEN America.
The Biden administration needs to start speaking out on behalf of individual journalists around the world who are targeted.
As the US enters a new presidency, journalists and rights groups will be pushing for press freedom to be a priority. Jessica Jaree, VOA News.